Welcome to another episode of the Quip Corner with Ada. My guest has been here before. I'm sure that's what you hear me say. Well, not on it again, I have first-time guests, but you'll see my guest bio right after this. Join us in the Quip Corner. Welcome back to the Quip and Convo segment of the Quip Corner with Ada Gail.
Thank you. It is my pleasure to be here. It's fun. I enjoy our conversations.
Yes, so do I. So do I. So from our email exchanges,
Yes.
I believe you said you'd like to talk about Quip 91. Okay, yes. Quip 91 from my third book, and the quip goes, "It's your life, so motivate yourself. Don't wait for others to motivate you. It's your life."
Yes. I like that one.
Okay, why? Why?
Um, I think that motivation is, as we all know, like it can be external and it can be internal motivation. So in that quote, you are referring to internal motivation, not external motivation. And in the work that I do in career development,
Yeah,
I would say that we are always career coaches, career practitioners, life coaches. That is one of the centers of the
mm,
work that we do,
yeah,
is figuring out what people's motivation is so that we can guide them and support them in their career journey. So
yeah.
look from that perspective, I think that and I think that motivation was kind of uh, maybe disrupted over the last 2-3 years. Like internal external motivation
Yeah,
was disrupted during the pandemic, and I think
yeah.
that now people are looking to sort of maybe reinvent and reimagine what motivation looks like to them. So I think
Okay.
it's a very timely quote.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you. So how, I mean, because I know you're a career coach, you talk about portfolio careers and all that.
Mhm.
How, do you peel back the layers of the onion around motivation when people are like, yeah, but.
Well, I think I think motivation is it's one of those things where it's going to be very personal. There's professional motivation. Again, there's internal, there's external. I think there's multiple, like you said, different layers when it comes to sort of peeling back the onion of motivation. But like your quote in particular is looking at motivation from it's maybe your responsibility to take care of that.
Hmm,
And
yeah,
it is. And it truly is. And I think that a lot of people, I just actually recently posted something on Instagram around the idea that, walking through life aimlessly for humans is probably the worst thing in life for humans, is to just be kind of wandering around aimless with no
yeah,
sense of purpose, no sense of motivation. And I mean, again, like if we look at the past 3 years, I think that that sort of lent itself to creating a little bit of that struggle, and and the mental health side of motivation, I think, is interesting because there's actually, if you do a lot of research around motivation, there like dopamine can be part of that as well. And
hmm,
so like really thinking about, finding something that sort of captures you and uh, and grabs you and makes you feel excited.
hmm,
I think that that is what people are trying to get back to after this 3 years of being in a pandemic.
yeah,
Because even if some people were not highly motivated by certain elements of their work life, they
hmm,
were extremely motivated maybe by other elements, maybe in their interests or their hobby life or like their pastimes, right? So a lot of
yeah,
folks could find motivation and purpose in other areas of their life. And then if you add a spiritual layer on top of that, which, you and I often, get into that side of it. If you're looking at it from a faith perspective, because that's how I always look at things, then I'm looking at it as a deeper purpose,
Yeah.
as well as co-laboring with within my spiritual walk with Christ.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I look at motivation as, there's kind of a lighter motivation on the top where you're looking for things that are, that make you excited, that kind of grip and grab you throughout your life, things that
Mhm.
you're looking forward to. and
Yeah.
then and then there's the deeper side of it where you're moving into purpose and serving and adding value and benefit in your work or your personal life and the things that you choose to do if you're co-laboring with the Lord.
Mm. That's a really interesting way of looking at motivation because it comes from the inside, but is also fueled, shall I say, because we're co-laboring with the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, and if, like, again, if because this is multi-layered too, and so I work with multiple different people with from multiple different walks of life with different backgrounds, with different religious backgrounds, with different secular folks who are atheists, folks who might be Muslim, folks who might be Christian. But what I've noticed is that if we do not have a deeper sense of motivation, because playing so many holes of golf, if that motivates you, that's great.
Hmm.
And a lot of people will be very purposeful and passionate around the sport, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I notice is that when people find the deeper purpose
Yeah.
in that activity, for example, when they really look at the deeper purpose, or they find the deeper purpose in the tasks that they're doing in their jobs, and they can see maybe even the bigger picture of how everything comes together to serve in the job that they're doing, it doesn't matter if they have a faith or not, that can create incredible motivation to especially go through rough and tough times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nicely put. Nicely put. Wow.
And so
Thanks.
I think, what's that?
Now, saying yeah, thanks. I'm thinking about what you're saying and thanking you for it as well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
that quote, and I think you and I often talk about these things, or in the last time that we talked, I think I don't know that you really realized the deepness of that quote, because it is multi-layered, and finding something that really grabs you in life and gives you that deeper sense of purpose.
Hmm.
Sometimes you have to dig a bit for that, and people want things served to them on a platter. They don't want to have to really think about what they're doing, and even like a simple task,
Yeah.
and how it relates to the bigger picture of serving others. Like, a lot of folks don't think that through, but when I meet somebody who does, where they're doing the most simplistic task in a job that we would think would be mundane,
Yeah.
and they can see the value, and they can see how it has purpose in the broader picture of how it serves people. That is incredibly inspiring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Lots to think about. Lots to think about for sure. Nice. Well, thank you, Gail, for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
insights on this. Yeah,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Ah, yeah, lots to think about.
It
So
is. Yeah.
sorry, go on.
You want no, go ahead. Your question?
Yeah, I'm wondering about people who don't seem to be able to find it. What can they do to unearth it? Because I agree with you, there are layers. Sometimes you need to move a lot of debris away to find it. And to your point, the past 2 years has created some debris. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Hmm.
So, how do you advise people deal with that to unearth that intrinsic
Yeah,
motivation?
a lot of this goes to, I think, is tied to people's beliefs, people's beliefs about something. If I give you an example of this, it would go like this. This is a simple example that I keep encountering. So folks who say to me, I can't find a job because I'm too old.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I say to them, um, so you're telling me that you can't find a job because you're too old, but I'll ask some questions like, why do you believe that? And so they'll say, well, employers, they want to hire younger people, or employers, don't want to hire me because I'm too old. And I'll say, so I tend to challenge that belief a bit. And
Mm-hmm.
I'll say, how do you know that's true? Where's the evidence? Because walking around in your job search saying, I'm too old, nobody's going to hire me, and employers, all of them want to hire younger people, and nobody wants to hire an old person like me. Um, if you haven't challenged that and you haven't tested it,
Mm-hmm.
then you're walking around with a belief that is definitely not going to motivate you to get up in the morning and look for work.
True. True.
And so then if we go back to beliefs create thoughts. Thoughts create feelings. Feelings create behavior, and behavior creates circumstances. And then it's a cycle, right? So if we look at folks' beliefs about their situation,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and we train folks to test and challenge that and not just accept it to be the truth,
Yeah.
then oftentimes what happens is that person that believes that, after they go and talk to a few employers, and they realize that there are maybe some employers out there who really do want to hire folks with their years of experience, then that blows that belief out of the water.
Yeah.
Changes motivation immediately. So often motivation is tied to beliefs. Beliefs are tied to thoughts. Thoughts are tied to feelings, and feelings are tied to actions. And then the actions often end up in your circumstances, which could be that I'm actually not looking for a job because I'm not motivated, because I believe nobody will hire me.
Yeah. True.
Right?
True.
So yeah, so on the coach, like a lot of coaches and strategists in this industry, we're trained to really help our clients evaluate their beliefs,
Yeah.
and then test those beliefs. And if those beliefs are in fact not true, because a lot of the time humans are running around the world with beliefs that they haven't tested or tamed. And so and as a result of that, we're not feeling motivated in some cases, and feeling depressed and anxious about our situations, because we have these tapes running around inside of our heads that actually are not true.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. And so when we jump, like when we make the decision that we're going to evaluate our beliefs around a job search, for example, and really think about, is this, is it true that every single employer out there is not going to hire me because I'm too old? And then also attaching that to, well, what do I have to offer? Because that's a huge piece that people forget about, right? It's not just, what am I going to get? It's, what do I
What am
have
I
to
giving?
offer? Yeah,
Yeah.
so what am I giving? So what do I have to offer at this age as a mature, seasoned worker?
Yeah.
What do I have to offer at
Mm-hmm.
this time in my industry and in my occupation? And if there's value there, then it's learning also how to communicate that value, because you're not communicating the value and what you have to offer when you're running around town saying to yourself, no one's going to hire me because I'm too old.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true.
So
Yeah.
I think a lot of motivation comes from how we think about our situation, and how we and whether or not we're actually testing our thoughts against reality and around fact and around truth, and whether or not we're actually testing it, or taming the thoughts that are running around inside of our heads. And oftentimes the taming of those thoughts comes from actually testing the validity of them.
That's true.
And if it is true that you're in an industry where, you know, their employers are preferring to hire younger people, possibly for reasons that are actually legitimate. One could be that they have stronger backs.
Yes.
They're not going to be as easily injured, right, in certain occupations. So it could be that now it's time to just sort of shift your belief
Mm-hmm.
in terms of what you have to offer, possibly in a different way. And so then you start to package what you can offer in a new way.
Yeah.
So then you are going to be testing other people's beliefs
Mm-hmm.
around what you can do for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's where I think motivation often comes from. It comes from how we're actually thinking about our situation or our circumstances.
That's true. Nice. Nice. Okay. Well, thank you. It's been fun listening to you, Gail. Thank you so, so much.
So do we have time? Do we have a little bit of time here?
Yes, we do.
So I would like to know, like, when you were writing that,
Mm-hmm.
like, what were your thoughts around motivation?
Well, the interesting thing about writing the book was my whole intention was writing a book for tweens, teens, and 20s,
Yes.
to live with. And shall I say, try to think about myself when I was those ages to say, what were some of the things I wish I knew or heard maybe from my parents? And
Mm,
it's struck me that sometimes when you're talking to, say, a teenager and maybe trying to guide them, the teenager would say, "It's my life." You're like, "Yeah, it is. Yeah, yeah, it's your life, you know?" And sometimes that individual may not be doing the things that they should or could that would take them to that next level because
right.
it's my life. And so I thought about it and I said, yeah, it is your life. And sometimes you don't need to wait for that external motivation. Sometimes you need to motivate yourself to get up and go. So that was my thinking around it. But, like I've found out from other people who have read or, bought and read this book, people are saying, well, a lot of things you said there also apply to adults, but
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely applies to adults. And I like that it's your life, because that means that the young person is realizing that, now it's kind of a rite of passage in a sense, right? Where, yes, this is your life now, and now you have to be intrinsically motivated to manage your life, because
Yeah.
for a long time parents are, and this is the interesting thing too, and I would like to know what you think about this, because um you hear about the generation of the helicopter parents and the parents
Yes.
who are kind of managing the life of their children, or maybe
Mhm.
over managing the life of their children,
Yeah.
to a point where, it is that um, kind of counterproductive in a way, because then it doesn't really glean that inner, this is my life and I need to take responsibility and I need to manage this myself.
Hmm.
And that rite of passage where, back when I was young, like, I mean, that rite of passage of managing your own life really started around 16 when we got our driver's licenses.
Hmm.
And that was a huge motivator. It was, that was one of the rites of passage where, okay, now I'm going to be managing like a big area of my life, which is transportation and transporting myself and others. And um and now I'm motivated to not only get my driver's license, but maybe purchase a car and take on that responsibility, because motivation and responsibility actually go together really nicely too. So
Yeah.
when kids are saying it's my life,
Hmm.
does this mean that they're motivated to take responsibility and accountability for the decisions that they're making too? Like, like
Yeah.
it's a real question.
Yes. Yeah. And the thing about that is um sometimes the it's my life is because some parents are too meddlesome.
Yes.
Like the helicopter parents you talked about, and or saying, well, this is how I want you to do it, and the child is like, maybe not, you know.
Mhm.
And so the way I see it is, in saying it's my life and having that motivation is truly desiring a good life.
Mhm.
So it's almost like saying it's my life and I want to do what is best. Now, the truth is that parents know a lot more than the children in some areas. So sometimes what a child may think is best really isn't. And so the child needs to be open to listen to their parents or teachers or whoever else is around them. But recognizing the responsibility, like you say, about saying it's my life and the additional responsibility of the motivation, because if you're always depending on external motivation, when that dries up, then
Right.
what?
Yeah.
Then what? So it is truly critical to your point that motivation has, an element of responsibility attached to it for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how it's a core thing, right? Motivation is a core thing, but it is attached to our beliefs in a sense. It's attached to, how willing we are to take on responsibility and accountability for our own decision making.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have really challenged my thinking around this idea of motivation because, as I said, in career development, we're always working and coaching and supporting around motivation in a sense, even
Mm-hmm.
though many career practitioners, I think we're aware that we're doing that, but
Yeah.
we might not realize the multiple layers like you've said. And then it's interesting because if you look at careers
Mm-hmm.
and the age group that you wrote that book for, right? That's a huge topic of conversation right now in career development is students not being motivated to choose career, like to choose a career direction. And then, how much do parents get involved in that and
Yeah.
how career development specialists, come in and help support the motivation around that because as soon as kids are not motivated into a direction, we often see like a lot of stagnate, like not, I don't want to say stagnation, it's not the right word. We just see a lot of fear coming from the parents in terms of, oh my goodness, what are they going to do with their lives? And then
Yeah.
students thinking, oh my goodness, what am I going to do with my life? And the parents' fear on top of their own, confusion doesn't necessarily help the
No, it
situation,
doesn't. It doesn't. It
right?
doesn't. Yeah.
And it seems like, you're kind of touching on that a little bit with that quote too, because, taking ownership that this is my life and parents saying, well, yes, but you need to figure out what direction you're going in. And, the students, depending on their age, coming back and saying, well, this is my life. I can do what I want. Like that definitely is a huge part of that career angst that sometimes happens,
Yeah.
usually in January of grade 12. Because students are supposed to be applying for universities and the deadlines of early application has come and gone, and so
Yes.
yeah, and parents are often so worried around that, and it's and fearful that if they don't
Mhm.
choose something now that they're going to get lost in the dust somehow and not have any motivation to get up in the morning and get out of bed
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
on anything with their
Yeah.
lives on a daily basis. Yeah.
That's true. That's
Mhm.
true. Yeah.
I see that a lot. And I'll get calls
Oh,
in,
wow.
yeah, usually about November.
Okay. Well, yeah.
It's,
I guess
it's
we'll
never
just,
never from the students.
well, it's back from, that's the thing. And it's a tricky one. It's almost like a chicken and egg situation because no parent wants their child to fail,
No,
you
no.
know? But the truth is, if a child does not own it, they'll only go so far. And,
Absolutely.
and even in going so far, if anything happens, they'll be quick to blame their parent. Well, you said I should. You said I should. Therefore, that's why I'm not doing well in it.
And that's a good point too, right? Because if they haven't been if they haven't been again, it's kind of that co-laboring idea, right? If they haven't been um, a, a, a co-pilot in their own life, if they haven't been a pilot in their own life, in a sense, right? How can
Mm-hmm.
we suddenly expect them from going, like, who's really flying the plane
Yeah.
is always the question. Like, who's flying the plane, and where are you at in this plane? Are you in economy seat way back there? Are are you at least a co-pilot in this
Yeah.
situation?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's flying the plane? And I think part of that is interesting because as kids age, they were once in the back seat of the car, then they're sitting next to you, and then they're
Yes.
driving.
Driving.
And that's why I use that 16-year-old rite of passage as an example, because
Mm-hmm.
where I come from in Canada, we were driving at the age of 16, and now
Yeah.
a lot of young people have no desire to even learn how to drive, and so that rite of passage has kind of disappeared. And so when we don't have these rites of passage where a parent begins to know, okay, now they're moving into this stage, where
Yeah.
a student, or a young person knows, now I'm moving into this stage and the expectations are different. If we don't have those rites of passage or those markers and milestones, I think it becomes harder to define who's flying the plane.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Interesting.
It
Interesting.
is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very interesting.
It is. It is. Yeah. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Well, we should keep this conversation going
I
and
know
do
we
this
could
again.
actually extrapolate and discuss motivation on so many different levels, around so many different age groups as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
That I think that there's more quotes coming around the topic of motivation from you.
I'm sure. I'm sure there'll be more. Well, thanks for that vote of confidence too. And thank you again. Sincerely, thank you for joining me today, Gail. I
Oh, you're welcome.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you for inviting me. It's always a great conversation. I enjoy it very much.
You're welcome. Well, you take care.
You take care too. And yeah, and now that we are free to have coffees and things like that, that's always a possibility, even if it's a virtual one.
Yes, we
Mhm.
should. We should.
Yeah,
So,
and let me know when your next book comes out.
okay, I will let you know. Thanks.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye now.
Bye. So you're busy. You've got a lot going on.
Oh, yes, I do. I do, I guess. Yeah, it's all good.
More books.
Well, yes, I need to work on that. Yeah, I'm hoping that I can publish one or two this year, but we'll see. We'll see. We'll
To
see.
add to the series. How many do you have? Because I've got two.
Oh,
So
I
how
have
many?
four
You've
now.
got four. Okay.
Yeah, I have four so far. So, yeah.
I I have to go on Amazon and check them out, because I check to see if you've got them on Amazon, and you have them on Amazon.
Oh,
So
they're all on Amazon. Yeah, the only difference is, when people buy from me, they get the autographed copies. Otherwise, they're on Amazon. They're
yeah,
available on Amazon. Yeah, yeah.
so awesome. You've been able to create this world of quips and quotes.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
That's amazing.
It is, it is. Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, so ready when you are.
Yeah, whenever.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay. Wow, what a conversation on motivation. And we seem to be motivated to keep going. Lots of insights, peeling back the layers of the onion. So, what's it like for you? Are you self-motivated or are you waiting for external motivation? Please drop your comments and feel free to share this video with lots of other people. Thanks again for joining me. Bye now.